dark. Final five. Good times with the family playing music, man, I hold it close to my heart. Yeah, I'm talking final fives. RSL Chizzy, man, I'm in the building. You already know, man. What's good, Chief?
Hey, I go by Miss Chief. We got this little thing called Vinyl Vibes.
Yeah.
We appreciate y'all coming back. Episode 5, real big special episode.
Yes, sir.
We just did episode 4, which was amazing. Wu-Tang Killer Bees, 36 Chambers. Today we gonna have some fun as well. I'm excited about this artist, the body of work. This dude is a monster. You feel me? So everybody can relate to this one.
2024 MVP, man. K-Dot.
K-Dot.
For sure, man. Like Chief said, man, this is Vinyl Vibes, episode 5. Today we doing Kendrick Lamar. Damn, let's get it.
The world is deep, night so dark.
I'm excited about the day. This is another one of them ones that has been talked about forever. I think it's one of the albums people forgot about because of his recent success.
Yeah, for
He's
sure.
been going so crazy.
2024 been that man.
Yeah,
right?
So everybody looking at it from the Not Like Us and the Pop Out and of course the GNX, but damn, it's the one that put him on the map for your boy.
For you?
That's the one that told me like, okay, this dude right here, he different.
Shell shock.
Different, because when you make an album like this, you have to be putting that GOAT conversation.
Nah,
this
for
is a
sure,
different
man.
one.
And it's crazy, bro. Like, for me, one of the reasons why I definitely thought it was a good idea to do this, Damn is his biggest commercial album.
Yeah.
And we don't just go off of numbers. But with Dot, all of them is classic, so we don't even gotta, we know what it is. But this being his biggest commercial album, I kind of feel like this is the generational gap. You got Good Kid, Mad City 2012, To Pimp a Butterfly 2015.
Yeah.
So this one is kind of dead smack, and there was a lot of younger generation who just was introduced to Kendrick Lamar at Damn.
Right.
And they had to go backwards. You know what I'm saying? So I think Damn is the perfect album. It's kind of dead smack in his career so far today. Still his biggest, most successful album. So I think it's a good joint, Chief, man. Let's get it, baby.
Yeah, man. Let's get into it, man. What we got on the agenda?
Where you want to
for the day?
start at, Chief, man? Because, like, if we're going to tell the story about Dan, we kind of got to start at the Heart Part 4. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And, we've been bumping that, going back over it. And, like, that was the warning. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That something is coming. And on the record, he's actually said the date. So he announced the album is coming. The Heart Part 4, man. It's crazy, man. So what's up? Talk to me, baby. Let's get it.
Well, I mean, like you said, that was the warning shot.
Yeah.
And just going back to when we did the Kanye episode, one thing that was real big is how he rolled out his album. Him leaking certain records and letting the people choose.
Yeah.
This was not that. This was more like, yo, I got a napalm bomb that's about to go off.
Yeah.
So this is kind of your time to either get your shit together, figure out where you're going to be, because this thing is happening.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
When I first heard the Heart Part 4, I was fucked up like the rest of the world.
Yeah.
But it was a couple things that jumped out to me. Y'all got till April the 7th to get y'all shit together. It felt like Jay-Z. It reminded me of, I think it was Rock Boys when he was coming back. So I heard a Jay-Z reference in there. That jumped out to me immediately. And another thing that I heard was like coming off of To Pimp a Butterfly, this was way more aggressive.
Yeah, the way he came, he kind of knew what he had, is what I felt. Like, he already, I think, was solidified in the game at that point. People knew K-Dot at that point.
Yeah.
But I don't think it was people looking at him like he the one. Other people kind of buzzing a little bit more.
For
and
sure.
we always talk about Kendrick never was the one that dropped albums back to back. He wasn't the DMX dude.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Between every album, he'll lay back, maybe do a couple features.
For sure.
But he wasn't doing the most.
Nah, for sure,
But
man.
when he dropped them albums, you already know it's going to be elevated, it's going to be mature, it's going to be a procured
A
sound.
lot of people are known, they know about the Heart Part series now.
Right.
Even with the battle.
Correct.
We got two.
That put it on the
We got
spotlight.
two Heart Part 6s.
Yeah, right,
You know what I'm
exactly.
saying? You got one from
Exactly.
Drake and one from Dot. But And you know the Heart Part 5 before Mr. Morale, that was a big splash.
Yeah.
But to me, the Heart Part 4 is where it started. It's like before his earlier projects, you got the Heart Part 1 and 2. He was underground,
Right.
rarely known. The Heart Part 3 was the first time I ever caught the Heart Part
Right.
series before Good Kid, Mad City. And he was still hungry, young. I knew what it was going to be, and I knew it was special. So for me, it started at 3.
Yeah.
But for a lot of people, this is where it started.
It started for me at 4.
Yeah.
Cause like I say,
For real, that's dope.
Yeah,
man.
this
That's dope.
where
So
really
this the first Heart you ever heard?
Yes.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
dope. That's
Heart
dope,
Part
bro.
4 was the first one. Now, when I went back and heard the other 3, I've heard them, but
Yeah.
this the one that I actually got a chance to experience
At the time of its release.
Correct.
Gotcha.
And this the one is where I was like, okay, so when Damn dropped, I was already kind of ready because
Nah, for sure.
yeah, he was already throwing jabs like, you know, with this and this post Control, right?
Yeah, this post control.
So
for
when
sure.
Control came out, that was a little different for me
Mm-hmm.
because that was more kind of my 90s era. Like when you that dude, you'll call niggas out and be ready to take the smoke.
for real.
But people didn't do that on records with other people
Yeah.
either. So when he did the Control, that already let me know. But trust me, when Damn came and like you said, the Heart Part 4, it
For
just
sure.
was an introduction to let people know, man, yo, this shit about to go crazy.
It's up, man.
Yeah, it's
And-
about to go crazy.
And that's what he does so often in his career. He had these moments. He give people these moments.
Definitely.
And to me, it's just in the spirit of hip hop, just trying to bring the spirit of competition back alive because it's so crucial to our culture.
Yeah.
And this was another one of those moments. But Heart Part 4 is not on the album. A couple days later, we get the first single, Humble, out of nowhere.
Right.
So I feel like let's just start right there. Let's just jump right in.
Yeah.
The first
That
single.
set the tone.
The first single, Humble, produced by Mike Will. What was your first initial reaction to that, T?
Man, again, different sound, comical, fun, but lyrical. It's a feeling. When you hear certain records like that, you kind of already know what it is. You may not know how it's gonna do with the public,
Yeah.
but you pretty much know that that's one of them ones that you really won't be forgetting anytime soon. That's how you lead an album, if
real.
anything. And like I say, coming from the Heart Part 4, kind of letting people know this is what it is. Now you actually drop that, and now
Yeah.
you solidify, you double down on it.
It's smoke where it's fire.
It's smoke, man. Like that's a
sure.
dude that's very confident of his craft, and he knows that, hey, in order to beat a man, you got to beat the man.
And it's crazy because it was so different coming off of To Pimp a Butterfly, this jazz and funk album with no 808s and no, what a lot of people would say, no real try at making commercial music.
Right.
It was just like it was 11 times nominated at the Grammy. So it was
crazy.
It was received well, To Pimp a Butterfly, but it didn't have the hits that Good Kid, Mad City had on it. Of course, we had We Gonna Be Alright, Generational.
Yeah.
Everybody remember what that was.
Certain
for
songs,
Black Lives
again,
Matter.
moments.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Moments what he do so well.
right.
But Humble was different.
It was.
It was different than anything I ever. To me at the time, just hearing that record alone, Mike Will, the 808s going crazy. I'm like, Doc, on some different shit. Like, you know what I mean? And the record wound up being his biggest record at that time.
Yeah.
It's 15 times platinum.
Right.
And I think people be having Dot fucked up, bro.
Well, you know, with Dot, man, he don't really have a format to his music necessarily, and he's definitely always been willing to take risks.
Yeah.
Cause that song doesn't really fit the typical mold, like you say, especially coming from To Pimp a Butterfly.
For real. It was total
You know,
opposite.
Yeah, It's All Right. That was a little bit more political, like you said, at the time. The passion was different, the energy was different. But like you say, man, that's just part of his DNA, bro. For real, it's just to be different, to take risk. And his marketing is a lot different from what most labels would do. I always love how Top marketed him. He never had to overdo it, bro.
Yeah.
Like his music is his best marketing. So when it's time for him to roll, he don't get on blogs.
Yeah.
He don't talk shit on the internet.
It's go time.
He go in the lab, bro.
Yeah, get it done.
And he's been consistently doing
And
that throughout his career.
It's crazy, bro, because like I said, so many times during this year and this moment,
Right.
I have heard like the praise of They Not Like Us and saying that this is his biggest record, which is out of here.
Yeah.
But I think people be forgetting the things that this man already accomplished. Again, Humble is 15 times platinum.
Yes.
Not diamond. 15 times platinum.
That's crazy.
So let's just keep that in mind.
Yeah, that's crazy.
You know what I'm saying? With an outside producer, Mike Will. So that let me know his thought process.
Well, let me get your perspective on this, since we're talking about Humble specifically.
Right.
Because, you know, one elephant in the room is, who is that for? You know, there's a narrative.
Yeah.
You know, that was a Big Sean type record in reference to, you know, him shooting. I know they had, you know, that little thing they're going in, but now the perception kind of changed slightly because you know of this. Yeah. So what do you think in reference to not even just the song itself, but who was it for? Who was it directed for? An artist? Was it for, you know?
Okay.
What you think?
I take it back to how I felt at that moment. I personally thought it was at Big Sean.
Right.
The entirety of the record, Hard Part 4, and The Humble,
right,
I thought was a response to, like you said, the Control verse had the effect that it had.
Definitely.
Doc go away for 2 years, make To Pimp a Butterfly, and on that record, he just making music. It's no real...
Yeah, it wasn't no follow-up.
So in that time period, there was a lot of things said, and bro took mental note and took names down, and I thought he was just coming back firing. Now, over the years, things have changed. I think that's kind of what you want to speak to. Obviously, there's a lot of shots at Drake and many other artists.
Definitely.
But a lot of Drake shots.
Because when, I mean, going back to that album, and I hear some of the things that was said then, it kind of even paints a bigger picture of me of, you know, why we are where we are right now. Even getting the music that we're getting now, I could see that, like, man.
How we got here.
Yeah.
For real.
Like, this dude, he was definitely in the lab when people was sleeping, when people was overdoing it and doing whatever they doing. I'm not condemning nobody.
Yeah.
But when you really, really locked in as an artist, man, and you gaining not only your pen is getting better, but you gaining real knowledge. You really, really getting more intelligent, because like you said, as we talk about this album, one of the biggest things that impressed me about it was how intelligent it was, but it was just so inspiring. It was dark. It was different, and I think that was his whole point, going through all of these emotions, all of these feelings to put this body of work together. And that's what really impressed me about this whole shit is, like, man, this dude, it's not about Humble in reference to the whole album.
Yeah,
Humble his biggest song, but the whole album is just follow up with him, from the features he got to, like you say, the producers, big records, bro.
Man, we let's hold on. Yeah, we gonna get into the concept, which is mind blowing. The man won the Pulitzer Prize for this. We gonna get into that. Let's talk about the production of the album.
Okay.
Because for me, this one I realized you never know what the hell bro gonna do. Every album is gonna have a different theme. This one I was fully aware. And I also started feeling like, yo, this dude one of the best.
Definitely.
The production on the album is like you never really could predict what he gonna do. But I want to start with him and Soundwave, who produced every project from the Kendrick Lamar EP to Section 80 and so on and so on. What do you think about the connection? Like, what's the common thread that you get from all Kendrick and Soundwave albums? What's the vibe? What's the impression that you get of the production?
You know what? The impression is it's a really good match because the artist feels comfortable. Like, in reference to how it sounds, it's dope music, so it's gonna sound a certain way. But when you look at artists like Jay-Z, you kind of tie him to Guru. When you look at even a Drake, you think about a 40. When you got that production and you know what I'm saying, like the Dipset and Heatmakers, there's certain eras where when the artist and the production meshes, the music is always going to be good, and it's going to be consistent. Because the artist can do what he want to do. It's not getting beats shipped in from different places, which is always cool. You always got to have them powerful features, and you always want to work with a Dr. Dre if you can. But that in-house, that kind of chemistry, it definitely, I think, helped him make his best music and keep to himself in reference to staying focused on him.
Nah, for sure, bro.
He never wavered.
I couldn't agree more. I think that's a big part of his success is that they've been tied in through every project, and they grow together.
Yeah,
and it's familiar.
It's different.
And hats off to Soundwave, bro.
Definitely.
One of the greatest of the generation. He's very quiet like Kendrick Lamar.
Right.
We don't really see Soundwave. All we do is see his name in the credits.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But dude is a monster. So I kind of want to move on to Mike Will, right? Because he's like the secret sauce for this album to me. Not used heavily, but humble and DNA.
And Mike Will was killing everything
Lord
at this
Jesus.
time.
So
this was his time, bro.
So
Like he's still doing it, but
what was the purpose of, you got Soundwave.
right.
What was the purpose, or do you think what was some of the ideas for bringing a producer like Mike Will into this equation?
Well, just speaking from an artist perspective, you may always want to stick to the main thing, but you know what I'm saying, it's always good to work with other people because they're gonna bring the best out of you. And I think when you look at somebody that make albums and not just making songs, it's certain things that he's missing. Okay, I know exactly where to get that.
Word up.
Maybe he doesn't know how it come out, but I'm pretty sure when you're an artist that's as elite as Kendrick, you have production to your disposal. You
Yeah.
can pretty much work with whoever you want to work with.
Hell yeah.
But as an artist, if you know what you're missing, I already got my assists, I got my rebounding, I got my shooting. Man, I need a dribble. I need, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to call Mike Will. And just like, with the combination with Mustard now, you probably wouldn't see him do a whole album with Mustard.
We haven't seen it.
Right, but when he need that one that fit into this puzzle piece, I think he knows exactly where to get it from.
Yeah.
And that's a good place, Mike Will.
And shout out to Dot for having that ear, and shout out
Definitely.
to Soundwave and his in-house producers who humble enough to say, this is what we missing, this is what we going to get.
Definitely.
And shout out to the South too. Like, they took the 808 and did some impeccable things with it. And I think that was Dot saying, I'm not going to just make music just for this coast or this place. I'm going to tap into these things that's at my disposal and make great art.
I think that's one of the reasons he did it too, because when you are an artist like that, you need to make that Cali music because I'm Cali. But you also got to make them records that don't sound like that, bro.
Yeah.
And that Humble was kind of like that because you can hear that at any club. It's going to fit into any culture. And it's not dated. It's not going to sound like you say consider regional rap, but it's K-Dot. So he actually spitting on it as well.
And that's one of the hardest things for a lyrical artist is to make hit records.
Yeah.
And Dot do it so effortlessly. But it's not easy.
It definitely is not easy.
Especially not for his type of artistry.
And when you say hits, it's more like, I would say universal hits, meaning because it's certain things that come out and you know who gonna like it. But when a whole different type of people like it, it's what I call an undeniable hit. That's what he makes, bro. You can talk about the numbers or whatever. That's a hit record.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I'm saying? And Humble was that, bro.
I want to give Knife Wonder some love. Because I don't want to skip around the album too much, but, he got the track Duckworth, and there's 3 different beat switches.
Yeah.
And it helped tie into the whole story. But I just want to give a shout out to him before we get too deep into this thing. And Knife Wonder, man, you're a legend. Shout out to
He had a
K-Dot.
story about how that came about. Like, I follow Knife.
Okay, talk to me. Let me hear.
He wanted a dope
Carolina dudes. Carolinas,
well,
baby.
I'm going to tell you. I think y'all should go and check his own story out because he talks about it. He had so many relationships. So he talked about that specific one and just how they met different times, different places, which is, I think, another thing with Dot coming from the Ninth Wonder story. Dot probably worked with who he actually likes and people because through Ninth story, he had already met Dot and Top a few times. Okay. So they had brushed arms a few times before he did that. And then just like we recently learned, you might hit Dot with a what I call a beat tape or whatever. And you may not hit that for 3 years.
From bro.
And then he'll call you and be like, yo, I got something to this one.
Or you hear that bitch when it come out.
And that may be just a part of, okay, you got the music, but let me see, how we can mesh. If I can kind of deal with you as a person, I think we can make great music.
We got another track on there produced by Steve Lacy. You know what I'm saying?
Lacy, another legend.
Who turned out to be a great producer in his own right and songwriter. You know what I'm saying? But at that time, I didn't personally really know too much. I knew he was with Odd Future and stuff like that. And I respect Tyler and all them guys, all musicians. He played the guitar, Tyler
behind
piano.
the scenes, man.
Those dudes are geniuses, low key, behind all the antics and stuff. So I want to give a shout out to him.
Definitely.
You know what I'm saying? So now, Chief, we got the production, right? The album is crazy, bro. Oh, before we move on, let's shout out to Kid Capri.
Oh my God.
Kid Capri being on this album on the first listen was the most satisfying part about the whole album to me.
Right.
Him giving that look to a legend who was so important. I feel like when it's all said and done, this is going to probably be the biggest thing Kid Capri ever slapped his name on.
That we talked about that too from the standpoint of, okay, you know, we just did the Woo episode 4, which, you know, we talked about how their impact goes beyond just the 90s. For sure. Now we go into the Damn, and here come Kid Capri. Kung Fu Kenny! That's crazy, like a New York old school legend with a younger Cali kid. He made it complete, bro.
That's why I was hating.
Yeah,
I ain't gonna lie.
That's a big look.
I was hating, bro.
It ain't too many people that got like Kid Capri.
I'm like,
hosted
man,
their album, bro.
Why nobody from up top ain't think of that? Like, you know what I'm saying? Why did it take a kid from Cali? But it's just dope. It just show you how much of a student that Dot really is of this thing. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But shout out to Kid Capri. That's legendary. The culture loves you, bro, and appreciate you and respect you. And shout out to Dot for making that happen. You know
That's a great match. Again, Dot being kind of point guard. A lot of people don't understand just the title itself. Damn, right? DAMN.
Yeah.
So let's get into the actual album, bro, because this one of them albums.
What you got over there, man? You look like you pulling on some homework on me, man.
The album got substance to it.
Okay.
The album got substance to it.
Oh,
so,
man.
You know, unlike a lot of albums where you kind of can listen to it and, you know, you might listen to track 1 and then go to 7. This one of them ones where you really kind of listen from 1 all the way to the end because it kind of it's connecting dots.
Or you can go from the end all the way to 1.
All the way from the end back to 1. You feel me? Which is that's even another segment, bro.
Yeah.
But we talk about our people being damned and just being cursed and things of that nature, which is something that he spoke about throughout this record in different ways.
To me, that's kind of like the centerpiece of the album.
So let's get into it. Tell me what do you think when we really roll back the layers on the concepts and how they connect and what they mean and maybe how that made you feel, though. Just what's your perception on, you know, the level of genius or the level of artistry that this guy did to do this?
Man, the concept is one of those things where it's like so many people have so many different theories of this thing. You spoke on the whole damn thing. I feel as though that it came to a point where maybe To Pimp a Butterfly, I think he always felt like it was his purpose to change the world. You hear on To Pimp a Butterfly and the whole Tupac thing. One of Tupac's most famous quote is, "I might not change the world, but I can spark the brain of the person who changed the world."
Correct.
And I think Kendrick Lamar think that nigga was talking directly to him. Bro. Like, I think that is his whole life mission to change. No, I really do feel that way, bro. Honestly.
Yeah.
I think he really thinks that. I think To Pimp a Butterfly might have saddened him, bro. Like, it was so hopeful. It was so uplifting. It's like, yes, all this stuff is going on with the police. Yes, the world is crazy. Yes, these things.
Right.
But I think that he held on to, I have this music and I have this thing I'm going to try to push and be positive. And now, from the music lovers, the album was received very well.
Right.
11 Grammy nominations, Ty Thriller.
Right.
Album of the year. All these great things, you know what I'm saying? But I think that for his community to not fully get it might have saddened him. Hence to Damn. I think it's his darkest album, and I think it's his angriest album. And I do feel as though that some of those teachings, he got to a point where the depression and the things that he thought was going to give him whatever he felt as though it didn't happen.
Right.
This how we get to Damn. And
so you say out of all the Kendrick albums, Damn is the darkest and his angriest. Now, in reference to that, do you think that was a good thing for him? Because the way he delivered it, the darkness, he kind of, to me, shed light on darkness.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
For sure,
because
sure.
it was very, it definitely was, every song wasn't humble.
Yeah.
Humble was like, even what he was talking about was different. It just was on a kind of a up-tempo, kind of club type beat.
For sure.
But a lot of the 5,
Candy with
6,
the
7s,
medicine.
there you go.
Even humble.
There
even
you
humble.
go. There you go.
Honestly, bro, I think like as far as just like the concept, I think it's a story. I think it's 2 stories. And I think either way you listen to the album,
Right.
you can pick what story you want to go with.
Correct.
And I think it is a story about a person and a people, as far as everything he was quoting, all colored people are damned. And how do you break this curse is to submit to God. So all throughout the album, you hear these themes. Is it wickedness or is it weakness? And I feel like this is a story, and every song connects to the next one, and it tells a story about a man that's on his way to salvation,
Right.
and choosing weakness.
So let me ask you too, just keeping with the album, the intro, right? How he came on with the trying to help the blind lady.
Yeah.
And then basically being shot by the blind lady while he's trying to help.
Mm-hmm.
Do you kind of think that was emotion coming from To Pimp a Butterfly? Is like, I actually tried to help the blind on that album, but I kind of feel persecuted in such a way. Do you think the intro?
I never thought about that.
Because that's a crazy way to start a record, for you to actually get shot immediately. That's what we
It's
doing.
a part in the album where he say, what did he say? He said, pride's gonna be the death of you. No, love is gonna be the death of you, but pride's gonna be the death of you and me.
You and me.
So maybe in the beginning of the album, it's mad theories.
It's a lot.
But maybe that's like his soul dying. You know what I mean? Not him actually dying,
right?
But his soul dying, like you said, from To Pimp a Butterfly and other things that might have saddened him.
Correct.
You don't know with this man.
Well,
that's the important part about it.
It definitely is important, because even during the album, even with the darkness, it was a lot of Bible quotes from Deuteronomy and things of that nature. And even in the Bible, a lot of times there's spiritual deaths and there's physical deaths.
Right.
And so depending on from your viewpoint of what you're reading, sometimes you got to kill your spirit off to be able to do something like a Damn. Because with having a dark album, you got to go there.
For sure, man.
You feel me?
For sure.
But let's get back into it, man.
Okay.
You talked about the 2 stories, the 2 themes, going from, basically on a path to salvation, and in the same breath trying to break the curses that we're already down with. A lot of the album leads up to one thing that's very important. We talked about his dad.
Yeah.
Right? I personally want you to just talk about that portion, just because that's interesting and how he painted that picture with that story. We'll catch up. We'll let y'all hear a piece of the music. Yeah. But tell me, what do you think that means in reference to the album? What does that mean? And give us some context of that song.
The song Duckworth, produced by Knife Wonder at the end. When I first heard it and I heard fear and God, I realized, okay, this is him choosing weakness. This is him saying, I'm so afraid of being damned and being damned to hell that now I'm starting to have this fear, when in the beginning it was, I don't give a fuck, I don't give a fuck.
Right.
So it was almost like he was relishing in the fact that nobody is praying for him. Like, you kept hearing that throughout the album. Nobody's praying for him.
Several times.
And at first he was saying it on some cocky shit, like,
right.
And then throughout the album, it's like he started coming to a realization, like, ain't nobody praying for me.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? So you get to records like Feel, the song Feel, I feel like that's just him unraveling. Like, directly just telling you how he feel about everything. And the same Curse that once he was kind of laughing at, thinking like, yeah, right, we curse. Yeah. Now it's like, oh shit, we curse. Yeah. You feel what I'm saying?
Realization.
So I didn't understand the Duckworth song at first in the story. I'm like, he clearly chose salvation. But years and years after listening to this shit, T, that might be the most important song, because I believe what he trying to say is through through the situation with his dad and Top not robbing him and his dad not being killed.
Correct.
Is the curse being broke.
Yeah, I definitely.
If I have to take a guess, that's what I would say.
And again, we don't know his mind is his mind, but
sure.
I definitely think that song and how he portrayed that story is where you at. I'm kind of there.
Yeah.
Because for him to be here, for Top not to be doing life, for everything to happen is the reason why you get a damn.
That's the
so
only
even
reason.
though it is dark and like you said, angry, that's kind of the blessing of it.
That's kind of the blessing.
You know what I mean?
For sure.
It's the opportunity to break the curse because I am here.
Do it for the love of the art, cause the music all I had when I was in the dark. Final five. Good times with the family playing music, man, I hold it close to my heart. Yeah, I'm talking.